Alright, so quickly to review solving quadratics by factoring. Main thing with these is that they have to be in the order f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Alright, remember if you don't like f of x, you can mark it out, put y. Alright, but when we're solving, it's going to have to equal 0, so we don't want it to be that either. We want it to equal 0. If you're missing a term, you still make sure that the exponents are in order 2, 1, and then this one doesn't have an exponent. Alright, so it's just your constant, or just your number. So to give you an example, if we have x squared plus 5x plus 4 equals 0. Alright, the first step's already done because it equals 0, which is important. Alright, it must equal 0 or we can't solve it. In this case, we don't need to do anything there, so we can go ahead and start to factor. A times C is just 4. Factors of 4 that add to give me this number. Alright, well, if I list off to the side my factors of 4, I only have 1 and 4, 2 and 2. Because 4 is positive, I'm going to be combining them, so 1 plus 4 is the one that would work. So I know that 1 and 4 are going to be my factors. I'm going to put those in parentheses with x. I've got x plus 1, x plus 4, and this is still equal to 0 because I still have to solve for these. Because a is 1, dividing by 1 is not going to change anything, so I can just go ahead, set both of them equal to 0, and then solve. So on this one I just have to subtract 1, so x is going to equal negative 1, and over here subtract 4, so x equals negative 4. Alright, to go through a second example, if you notice this one does not equal 0, it equals negative 56. Alright, again it has to equal 0 because we're trying to figure out where this graph crosses the x-axis, so when y would equal 0. Alright, so all we have to do here is take 56 from the right side and move it to the left side of the equal sign. So in order to do that, we've got to do the opposite. So we're just going to add this over. Okay. Over here, it's going to become 0. So now we have equals 0. On the left side, what we're trying to find is like terms in order to combine it. But in this case, 56 is just a number. It doesn't have a k with it, so we can't combine it. So we're just going to make sure that it's in that same order. And remember our order, ax squared plus bx plus c. So our x squared term in this case is just k squared. Our x term, or in this case again just k, is going to be 15k. And then our constant, which is just the number, is just 56. Okay, so now all we have to do is factor just like we did before. Factors of 56 that are going to add to 15. And since everything's positive, I know that I'm just going to be adding. If I don't know those factors, I'm going to list them off to the side. So 1 and 56, 2 and 28, 3, does 3 go into 56? I don't think so. 4 does. How many times 14? Okay, we're still not, with these numbers that we still don't have anything that's going to add to 15, so we got to keep going. 5 doesn't go into 56, 6 does not go into 56, 7 and 8 would. And if I go through and combine these now, I can figure out which one is going to give me that 15. This would be 57, this would be 30, this would be 18, and this would be 15. So I know 7 and 8 are going to be my factors. Alright, I'm going to put those in parentheses with k, so it's k plus 7, k plus 8 equals 0. Alright, I have to divide by a again, which is just 1, so it's not changing anything. So I can go ahead and set these equal to 0 and solve. So subtract 7, k equals negative 7, and subtract 8, so k equals negative 8. So my answers are negative 7 and negative 8. Alright, with this last example, you can see that on our right side, we've got all of this, alright? It should be equal to 0, so I need to figure out how to get all of that to go to the left side so that there's nothing left on the right side. All right, all I have to do is the opposite, so I'm just going to change all of this. Okay, so since it was positive k squared, it's now negative. Since it's negative 3k, it's now positive. Positive 2, I'm going to subtract 2. And again, I want to take all of this from the right side and move it to the left side. So I'm going to rewrite all of that on this side. Okay, over here everything's canceling out, so I get my equals 0, which is what I was going for. On the left side, now I'm looking at combining like terms. So since I have k squared right here, I can put those together. So 3 minus, that would be 1. 3 minus 1 is going to give me 2k squared. And again, I'm keeping this in my order, ax squared plus bx plus c. Alright, the next term that I need is just the x term, or in this case k. The only one that I have that's just k is that plus 3k, so I'm going to write it down. And then the last term I need is my constant, or just my number. And I've got negative 12 and negative 2, which is going to give me negative 14. Alright, since I've got my factors now, because my coefficient here is 2, I look to see if I can take it out. Alright, 2 does go into 14, but it doesn't go into 3, so I can't take it away. So all I have to do is multiply. 2 times negative 14 gives me negative 28. So I need factors of negative 28 that are going to add to 3. So I'm just going to start listing my factors. I've got 1 and 28, 2 and 14, 3 doesn't go into it, 4 and 7. Alright, because it's negative, I know I'm going to be subtracting those numbers, or that one of them is negative. So if I wanted to rewrite them, all I have to do is now go in and make one of them negative. Alright, so that now I can combine them to figure out which one is going to give me a positive 3. Alright, negative 1 and 28 would give me a 27. Negative 2 and 14 would be 12. Negative 4 and 7 would be 3. And then I've got the, down here where the signs have changed, and then it would be negative 27, negative 12, and negative 3. Again, that's when I'm going in and adding those together. Alright, I need it to equal 3, so my factors are going to be negative 4 and 7. Alright, so now I can put those in parentheses. So I've got k minus 4, k plus 7 equals 0. But I have to go back, and because this was 2, I've got to divide by 2. Right, now I've got 4 divided by 2 is just 2, so k minus 2 equals 0. 7 divided by 2 does not reduce, so I can just leave it as 7 over 2. And now I'm going to solve these. So add 2 to both sides. So down here k equals 2. And then here I'm just going to subtract 7 over 2. It doesn't matter that it's a fraction, the whole thing is going to move. So my answers are 2 and negative 7 over 2.